So we on chapter 4. And on chapter 4, I was telling y'all before on chapter 3, I was down south at Trudy Greenhouse. And I was learning so much from her. She was definitely an angel for me. And everything is everything. So this is how I met Patrick, his Clary brother Patrick. And he was a skinny dude, smoked mad weed, talk mad trash, and loved to come over to his mother's house and drink coffee in the morning. So every morning he would wake me up. Get up, girl, and let's have a conversation. He just wanted to talk, nothing special, nothing different. But he was the realest nigga I've ever met, for real. Patrick, which is, he dead too now. Patrick was very, very special to me because he ain't care. He said what he wanted to say, and it is what it is. And whatever he talked about, you could best believe he did it, or he was gonna do it, or he'll show you better he could tell you. So I really, really respected Patrick. He was alright. And so Miss Trudy had got sick, and while she was in the hospital, I had to take care of her mom. And just my luck, Miss Trudy mom walked out the house during a situation, and I had to go find her. I had to go get into the car and find their mama, their grandmother. Nobody else did, just me. And Clary's son was down south as well. And he was different. He had micro braids. He was heavy set, and he was more feminine than you would like for a man to be. But Miss Trudy accepted everybody. She didn't care about nothing. She accepted you as long as you had respect and you was family, considered her family. She accepted you. She didn't care. And she had told us, she was gonna get that whole situation together, which I don't know if it ever happened, but I know she tried. And so me and my kids in one room, everybody in the house in there, and we made it work. I would cook and help cook, because I didn't know how to cook. Help cook. She taught me how to cook. I knew how to clean, and then she showed me other ways how to clean. And then she had her sewing situation on the porch, and she taught me how to sew. I ain't know none of this stuff, crafts and stuff. That's why I like crafts now, because of Trudy. And I'm not into sewing, but I'm into other things. So it was a situation where Patrick went to jail, and oh no, Tony went to jail when I first got down there because I was drinking a beer in his car. Tony is his Clary's younger brother, and then after that, Patrick went to jail, and it was an interesting time because Trudy really depended on Patrick for things that she didn't depend on me for, because that was her child. I was not her child. I was her child's baby mama. So I got a job as a certified nurse aide again, and I started working. Judy made all my nurses' outfits from material, and I went to work. But I wasn't really ready to work. I always rushed to do something, to be self-sufficient, but I wasn't ready mentally at that time to do nothing. What I should have been doing is sitting down getting some damn counseling. But I didn't know that. I didn't know at the time that's what I was supposed to do. I was supposed to be trying to get my mind right. Instead, I was trying to make sure I could, be self-sufficient. And then one day I came home from work, and Trudy told me that my baby, at the time, my 1-year-old Duke, was missing. So me, Patrick, and Jackie, Clary's sister, all over the neighborhood looking for Duke. Come to find out, Duke was in the cupboard, under the cupboard in the room, and she just overlooked it or whatever. So then I, trying to be I could do things all by myself again, which I shouldn't have, but I did. I wanted to get my own apartment, and so Trudy helped me get my own apartment right down the street. Wasn't far from her, and that's what she wanted. But again, I was not ready to get no apartment. I was just messed up, and it didn't work out. I got me a car. I was going to work, but I just wasn't ready. I was moving too fast, and I should have listened to Miss Trudy and told me to slow down, stay at her house, where, I don't know, just kept on bumping my head into that wall, making wrong decisions, and it is what it is. My son and my daughter, Antoine and Nunu, started getting into more trouble. Antoine joined the gang, Nunu followed. Antoine got in trouble, Nunu got in trouble. Never pain. Always Antoine, Nunu. So one day, I met a dude, again, looking for love, and what I should be doing is try to fix myself, but oh no. I always, when I'm getting in the wrong place, I try to find a dude to help me. Come save this hoe. And he wasn't worth a damn either. But he got in where he fit in, and he showed me a lot of things that wasn't good things, but he showed me a lot of things, so I knew if something like that would happen to me again, I knew I wasn't going to go for it. So he fit the purpose. He really did. And one day, we all went to the country, to Birmingham, and came back, and the house was destroyed. The house was destroyed, and come to find out, it was some of these gang members that Antoine Nunu was hanging with from school. And so I decided, I'm out of here. This is too much. But I didn't leave. So Sarah had got down south, and they knew I was at Trudy's house. And they came to Trudy's house, and why they showed them where I was at. So my dad asked, could all my kids come down? Me too.
That dog smell coming back.
Is it? My dad asked, could we all come down to a 4th of July cookout at his house? Real big thing. And, because I didn't want to be bothered with the givings at all, I told him no. And my sons couldn't go because I didn't trust my sons around Sarah and her crew. I let my girls go because they didn't really wasn't interested in my girls. I let my girls go and I kept my sons with me. But I didn't trust her. I didn't trust her at all at this point. At all. And I knew, no, I'm not sending my sons. My son's gonna stay with me and my girls can go. So that's what happened. Me and my son stayed in Birmingham and my girls went to the cookout, which everybody talked about. Everybody had came down from Syracuse to be at. It was a big old time, good old time. My kids, my daughter said they had a ball. You know, they brought them back. And from that point, when they came to my house to pick up my kids, to the point I decided to leave Birmingham, I was scared. I didn't know what was wrong. I didn't know what I was scared of. I just was scared. I felt like somebody was after me. Somebody was coming to get me. I didn't know what the feeling was. And I told Trudy, I said, Trudy, I just don't feel comfortable. I feel like something's wrong. Something about to happen. Something dot, dot, dot. And Trudy talked to me and she said, baby, you got to deal with whatever is going on. Because she knew something was going on. She said, you just got to deal with it. You can't keep running. No. What did I do? Ran again. I just dropped everything, left everything in my house. I left some really good stuff in my house. Didn't clean up, didn't tell nobody I was leaving, nothing. I just got in my car without no tag on it, and me, the man, my 4 kids, went to Syracuse. Now, when we get to Syracuse, we don't got nowhere to stay, so of course I went to my mom's house because I couldn't go to 1419 Millen Ave. And I called Trudy and told her I was in Syracuse, and she was like, well, you gotta, because at that time, Howard was sending me $600 a month for child support. And I told Trudy, just keep the check. Thank you for everything. Just keep the check. Don't worry about it. We good. And that was the last time I seen Trudy. That's the last time I really talked to her. She was so upset with me, but it would have been nothing for me to ask her, could I come back? She would have accepted me. And I went to Syracuse. So, stayed with my mom for a little while. Got me an apartment on the north side. And, unbeknownst to me, you know, the people upstairs was racist. So, we could tell little shit started happening. Like, one day, because we had a front door and a back door. Front door, you could walk across the street, go to the park and the store. Back door was where the cars was at. And one day we went through the back door because you got your own key. And my apartment was downstairs. The white people's apartment was upstairs. And the lady said, excuse me, you're not supposed to be in here. This is our spot. I said, oh, okay. And went into my back door, and I ain't seen nothing else to her. So 2 days later, we was in the front, sitting on the front steps, and she came through the front from across the street at the park. She said, didn't I tell you that you're not supposed to be here? This is our spot. And I said, ma'am, go on now. You know, go on. I'm not in the mood. Go on. I don't know what's wrong with you. I don't even know who you are. Well, I live upstairs. I run this apartment. I said, okay, that's fine. So me and my kids was out there. They was eating ice cream, so I didn't want to clean up after them. So they was outside. It was a beautiful day in Syracuse. And we only get short summers up in Syracuse, so it wasn't like, you know, we just come outside every day and this happened. No. It was short summers, so my kids was outside playing around. She took her happy ass back across the street, and then she came back over with 3 men and 3 kids, which was hers. And so the guy said to me, didn't she tell you you can't be here? And, you know, I snapped. I just had snapped. And I told him, you know, just told him off. I said some really harsh words because he caught me when I just had enough of him and this woman, and I was trying to relax with my kids. So that started the feud between upstairs and downstairs. So they started calling us niggers and running away, or going upstairs and say, nigger, nigger, where are you? Stuff like that, and I could hear it in my apartment. But the thing that got me was when they tied a black Barbie doll with some shit on it, with the rope around her neck onto my doorknob. And so I called the police. I was like, yo, listen, y'all better come, because these people is tripping. And I told the cop when they came, we gonna get into a fight, and I don't want that to happen. If you could just talk to them and tell them not to do this no more, because this is disgusting. It's racist and it's rude. And I'm just not tolerating it. And them police didn't give a damn what I said. They left here. They never went upstairs to talk to her or nothing. So sure enough, 2 days later, my daughter was coming in the hallway, Nunu, and her two daughters was sitting outside on the front porch, and they wouldn't let Nunu in the house. The boy was in the hallway, the mama was sitting on the stairs going up to her apartment, and I heard them talking to Nunu. So me and Antoine and Payne went outside to help her. The boy wouldn't let me go out the door, and Nunu and they was jumping Nunu, so I started fighting the boy, and that's when the mother started coming downstairs, and that's when she got hit. And we pushed the boy outside and locked the door, and I pulled the woman in my house and whooped her ass. Okay? Whooped her ass. Now, when I got done whooping her ass, and Nunu got done whooping the girl's ass outside, because the boy wouldn't jump in for some reason. I don't know why that boy didn't jump into that fight, but I'm glad he didn't, because he would have had a problem. But after we got whooping their ass, they called the police, and the police came and took me to jail. I called my mom to come get my kids, and the lady next door from me, she held my kids up till my mom got there. Now, I'm sitting in a circle downtown in the Justice Center with 2 felony charges. I got to go to... Oh, I forgot to tell you about that. Okay, so let me back up. So one day, my daughter Payne was coming home from school, and she must have got turned around or something, and she became missing. And Kelvin Givens, once again, this punk, perverted looking motherfucker, picks my daughter up. Instead of bringing her back to my house, he takes her to her father. Don't know why Kelvin did this. I never talked to him about it, because I didn't like him. And I think that's the reason why he did that. So when he took Payne to her father, Tex went downtown. Instead of telling me he had her, Tex went downtown and filed for custody, saying I couldn't watch his child. It was a big old thing. But in the meantime, I'm looking for my daughter. I'm all around the neighborhood trying to find her. And finally, some type of way, I don't know how, but I found out that Tex had my daughter, and he wasn't giving her back. So we went to court, and the judge gave Tex, time with his daughter. I had to turn that air conditioner on, but it's about to get hot again. And so I had to catch the bus from on the north side to his house only on Saturday, and only for 6 hours I could keep my daughter. Okay? So on Saturday mornings, I would get up and I would go to Tex's house. I had to be there by 9 a.m. That means I got there at 8:15, 8:30-ish. And I didn't give a damn if nobody was woken that motherfucker. By the time I got done banging on that door, y'all gonna give me my child. And they couldn't deny me because it was my day. And so I bang on that motherfucking door. I did that shit for almost 6 weeks, 7 weeks, 8 weeks, something like that. Every Saturday, I had to catch the bus down there because I ain't had no car. And I had to get my daughter take her home, wash her hair, give her a bleach bath, put lotion on her, and change her clothes, and then take her back every Saturday until I got my daughter back. So by me banging on the door and not, giving in to them, not opening up the door, because I told them, if y'all don't bring my baby out here in 5 minutes, I'm calling the police. Woke up the whole goddamn neighborhood. I didn't give a fuck. Fuck the girl you living with. Fuck her kids. Fuck that dog. Fuck everybody. I want my child. Because she's not supposed to be with you anyway. You did some dirty shit with Calvin. And now you want to make sure I motherfucking be a penalty. And then I talked to my dad about it. I was like, yo, Dad, you need to talk to him because it was a mistake. It wasn't like I intentionally just left the girl. No, she must have got turned around and got lost. My dad said, I ain't getting into it. And that was the last time I asked him to help about me any motherfucking part. Anyway, that's the last time I asked. So, this is the time where I went to jail. And in the circle, my brother Kenny ended up coming to jail too for some odd reason on the same night I did. And I went to court and I told that judge, I'm never coming back down here. And it's been 20-something years since I've been to jail. But I had to go to court for almost 6 months. And then in court, the lady said, the judge asked her, because they kept pushing the date back, kept pushing it back. Every time I go there, they kept pushing back. But I was determined. I don't give a fuck how many times y'all push it back. I'm coming to court every time. And I thought the judicial system thought I wasn't going to show up. Shit. I showed up every time. And finally she said, the judge said, what made you and her start to fighting? She said, I told her, and where I come from in Oklahoma, niggers stay in their place. And that's when me and her got to fighting. Now, she went to the emergency room. She had head injuries. She had a black eye, busted lip, chipped tooth. And she was fucked up. And so the judge said, well, then you blame her for you getting beat up? And she said, well, yeah, because in Oklahoma, our niggers don't fight us back. So the judge said, okay, we're going to drop all charges against, at that time it was Miss Turner. We're going to drop all charges against her. And I had a year conditional. I had to stay out of trouble for a year. And that proved to me that, you got to fight back sometime. You can't keep running from stuff. And that ain't the last time I run, but that's the first time I stood up for myself to the point where, I wasn't going to let nobody run over me no more. I wasn't going to take it no more. I had enough. So me and my kids moved from that apartment. We moved deeper into the north side. Very nice apartment. Lit over a black couple. Whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. And that's where my dad and Sarah came up to see me at that apartment. And that was in 2003. And by the way, I did go to court the next morning and I got my daughter back because text emailed the judge and said that he didn't want court custody no more. It was too much trouble to deal with me being a co-parent. So he gave up his rights to fight with me anymore, and I got my daughter back. But when Sarah and my dad came to visit me at my apartment deep out of the north side on Spring Street, that was the last time I seen my dad. And, he came up there. He didn't stay long. He just was up here to visit, just wanted to see us. And we was all there. My house was looking nice. It was clean. It didn't stink. It wasn't dirty. But at that point, I didn't feel comfortable with either one of them in my house. I didn't feel comfortable with Sarah. She has always been the problem I felt in my life. So, looking back now, I should have sat my dad down and told her to get the fuck out. But I just didn't have it in me to do that. Or I still needed a lot of growing up to do. I really was not grown. I really shouldn't have 4 kids by myself because it was only me and God. God and I. Whatever one you want to say, but that's all it was, raising them kids, because I was still working as a CNA. I had got fired from Loretto because of Tech's girlfriend, same one whose house I went to every Saturday to pick up my child. And it just it just was getting worse and worse. And when that was the last time I seen my dad alive, when he came to see me on Spring Street. And he was like, "You coming over?" I was like, "Nope." I was like, "Nah, I'm not coming over. I got to work. I got to take care of me and my kids. I just can't do it." So that's the last time I seen my dad alive with Sarah. And my dad died January 23rd. His birthday was January 21st. I talked to him on the phone. I was at Eileen's house when he called. But just so happens I was over there and he called, and I said very few words to him, which I regret to this day. But he told me, I can't even remember what he told me, but he said something to me, and I just wasn't feeling. I just was very ignorant. I was very childlike behavior, and I didn't give him the proper response. And stuff. I had the opportunity to say anything to him, and I was just so mad, and I was just so angry, and I was just so ignorant. And he died 2 days later. From what I still don't know to this day. He's been dead almost 20 years. I still don't know what he died of. But when my dad died, Roosevelt was the executive of the will. And again, Roosevelt still had this thing for me where he wanted to stick it to me. He didn't give a fuck. I wasn't his family. This is how he treated me anyway. So it really was a bad situation. So I didn't have a car to go down there. I didn't have the money to, because they made sure the funeral was down south. My dad is buried down south. Everybody else is buried up here, though. Everybody else was brought back up here, but they made sure that if I had to get down there, it was going to be hard for me. So Josephine decided, she was going to help me get a rental car, which I could have got it my damn self. But at that moment, I was crazy stuck because I couldn't believe my dad was dead. And so she got me a rental car for me and my 4 kids again, and Michael and Shawana drove. It was a snowstorm, and we had to drive at 20 miles per hour for almost 5 hours in a snowstorm because of the way they went going towards Elmira and all that. And Eileen followed us, and Kelvin Gibbons and all them rolled down. And in the ride down, I really was like in a daze because I really couldn't believe my dad was dead. I never had nobody die that close to me with unresolved issues. We had so many unresolved issues because we never sat down and talked as adults. I never had, a conversation with him. Last time we had a conversation, he punched me in my face and made my nose bleed. That's the type of thing. It was just terrible. So when we got down south, the first thing that happened was I couldn't go in my dad's house. Sarah refused me to go in the house. And all her kids, Kelvin Gibbons, standing in the front, was the ringleader that I couldn't go in my dad's house. I had to stay in a hotel, me and my 4 kids. With Shawana and Michael, it was like they was watching us. To this day, that's what I believe. They was watching us, making sure, whatever. And Roosevelt was, he was in control of everything. Um, the day of the funeral, I couldn't ride in the limousine with the rest of the siblings. I had to ride in a limousine with the kids. When we got to the church, they didn't line me up with the rest of the family. I had to get pushed up to the front because I was still stuck. At the funeral, I didn't stand up and protest what was going on. I felt in my mind, I done showed out all my fucking life. I done showed my ass all my fucking life. I refuse to show my ass at my dad's funeral. That is something that nobody will have to say about me. That Nika showed her ass at her father's funeral. And I mean, it was packed. I couldn't get no food. I couldn't get no soda. I couldn't go to the bathroom. I couldn't go in the house. They watched me and stopped me, turned out the lights, refused me to do anything. So I did not enjoy going down south to bury my dad because I was not included. And I tried to go to the funeral home, but Richard tagged along with me. So every time I asked a question, he would look at Richard and Richard would tell him no. And the only reason why I know that is because my brother Clyde told me about what was going on in the back of me. And like a lot of people came out and told me things later on what was going on at the time that I didn't know. I didn't know Richard was a snake. I really did not know at the time. So when the next day, that night while we was all outside, Patricia Ann Dean Tanksley came up to me and said, "You need to fight. You need to get your father's stuff." And I looked at her and I told her, I'm not showing out at my dad's funeral. I shouldn't have to. Nobody should be against me. They shouldn't be holding no grudges against me. They shouldn't be treating me like this. No way in hell should this be going on. But now you want to come to me and tell me to show out. And that's not what an aunt is supposed to do. She's supposed to grab me by my hand and say, "Come on, let's go in here. Let's get you in here. Let's get you something to eat. Let's get you treated better." They should have rallied around me and not around them Gibbons. But that's what they did. So the next day, ain't my fucking uncle, Roosevelt read the will, but he read a fake will. And there was no lawyer there. So that's the only time I was let in the house to hear the reading of the will. And in the will, it said I got nothing. But my son, my oldest son, got both houses, 1419 and the one down south. And that Sarah can live in that house down south until she dies, and which she did. But all my dad's jewelry, his money, his clothes, his shoes, all that important stuff, that was given away to God knows who. I know who got it, and I know how they got it, but the point is my kids didn't get nothing. No momentum from my dad. Nothing. Roosevelt went to the bank and took out all the money. He got all the money out the closet. And Sarah and her kids, they lived in that house with everything of my father's, and I never seen nothing ever again. Not one thing did my kids get. None of my kids. So we went back to Syracuse, and when I went back to Syracuse, that was it. I didn't hear from anybody. Nobody asked me how I was doing. Nobody called my phone to ask how the kids were doing. Nobody got a birthday present. Nobody got a Christmas present. And I mean from nobody. Me and God raised them kids. We don't know how, but we did. And as usual, I met a family that helped me out. I was with a dude. His mom helped me out. It's always been a saving angel there for me. but it never was the people that I was born to rely on. It never was the Deans. It never was the Givens, and it wasn't my mom and my sister and nobody. Everybody gave me their ass to kiss. It was either this what it was. You gonna float or you gonna sink. But either way, bitch, we just watching. So I got a real strong attitude in my mind. You know what? Fuck all these motherfuckers. We about to float. And so I did any and everything to keep my family together. I mean, any and everything. I did it. It's nothing that I can't remember that I didn't do to keep my family afloat. I was on Section 8. I was on welfare. I had food stamps. I had Medicaid. Money-wise, I worked. I hustled. I did this. I did that. I did it all to make sure my family was good. My kids never, ever had to worry about the lights getting cut off or not having no clothes or shoes, not having no food. None of that. We never had to worry about none of that because I made sure all that was popping. But as far as taking care of myself, I was always last. Always last, didn't do it. I didn't have proper clothing. Always had hair, but I kept a car. And then I reconnected with Sneaky Pete, and Sneaky Pete gave me some money. I reconnected with Howard. Howard gave me some money. Tex ain't give me shit. Tex wasn't fucking with me. But these is how I survived. Other people out in them streets that I had to reconnect with when I came back by myself. So, like I said, but we survived. We survived that shit, you know. And I was only getting stronger. I never was getting weaker. I always had a dude in my pocket. All that. So, Clary's still in jail. Clary calls me on the phone occasionally. And this is when he, you know, talk about getting married. So I go marry him in jail. Pee-wee was my, Sister Pee-wee was my person that stood there with me. Nothing real, just married in jail. And my son was in, he was in jail too. So I would rent a car, any car I wanted to. I always got the flashiest, the nicest car to go see my son and my husband because they was in the same way. You know, I had to go that way. I would pass by Antoine anyway to go see Clary. So I always hit my son first. And then I was doing trailer visits. Now, trailer visits were not fun for me because the abuse from Clary was real. I could have told on him at any time, you know, I could have ended my trailer visit. I could have never went back up there to visit him, but I was stupid. Okay, I just needed to be loved, and you know, I'm the type of person, yo, I'm down with you, whatever. You know, we gonna make it through. We gonna figure this out. This gonna pass. This too, you shall change. You know, you just at a time in jail. Oh, he's frustrated because he's in jail. That's why he putting his hands on me. That nigga would strangle me because I ain't get the right food. Not appreciate that I brought some food. Strangle me because I ain't get the right food. Oh, I told you to get this, but nigga, you ain't give me no money. I told you to bring that, but nigga, you ain't give me no money. So, it was very hard on me to be married to Clary in jail. It taught me a lot. I even got turned away from the jail because Clary had the other woman up there, and many times, and I caught the bus up there. You know, then I just stopped. I just stopped because when a man beat you up on a trailer visit, and you tell them you don't want to have sex and you still gotta have sex, that's called rape. I just stopped going, and I just got tired. I got real tired of that. It got old because I wasn't happy. He wasn't happy. I was trying to get my life together. I was going to school, I was home with my kids. I wasn't that girl that was out ready to do anything, everything for they nigga. I just wasn't ready. I just didn't do it. So when he got out of jail, I went and got him. Shawana let me use her car to go get him, and I went and got him from jail, and I took him. I was living on the west side then, and he came to the west side, and the first thing he needed was for me to put some cream on his anus. And I thought that was kind of strange. I was like, what? Nigga, you want me to do what? Put some cream on his anus. It was inflamed, he said. And I was like, I don't think I want to do that. But I went to the store, came back, I gave him the cream, applied it. That was one thing. But I had went into the kitchen to cook some food. And fixed his plate, and he threw the plate at the damn wall and told me, bitch, you better clean it up. And the abuse just started there. It just got worser and worser and worser and worser. Where he started cutting cords on electronical things he bought. He started cutting up my clothes. He started talking to my kids all fucked up. It just got really, really bad until one day he had gave me a black eye, and I called the police on him. And had the police go to the house and get him because I was done. Both of my eyes was black, and my kids was going to the Southwest Center at the time. I had to get my kids with 2 black eyes, and Ed just looked at me, never said a word. He just looked at me and shook his head, and I was done. Like, yo, you in jail, nigga. You can't be putting your hands on me. And that's when Belinda tried to come to the house, and I ignored her. I was inside, and she was banging on the door, but I never opened the door for her, but I was just done. And he talked me into dropping them charges, but I never should have did that. So it was just bad decisions after bad decisions after bad decisions after bad decisions. I just made every decision wrong in my life, and all because I had daddy issues, had self-esteem issues, because I had never been loved issues. Like everybody I felt in my life had failed me, And then I was the black sheep, wasn't nobody fucking with me. Just keep coming up with excuses. And finally, when I dropped them charges on Cleary, he came out of jail. He was very upset with me. And this is when my car got stolen. This is when my tires became flat. And here come Monica. Monica was the girl he was messing with supposedly all along. I really don't care, but the point is, them two was made for each other, and they deserve each other, and they ended up with each other. But what didn't happen was, Clary didn't stop messing with both of us. He should just went to one side or the other, but he didn't for a while. And he'd come over to my house and beat my ass, and then go over her house and have a good time, cooking out in the backyard, chilling, playing cards, all that. So I found out that Eileen and Monica was close friends. She called her her bestie, and that she knew all along that Monica and Clary was messing around and never said nothing. Went along with it. My mother too went along with it, and that was the thing. That was the thing. No loyalty to me. Not to say, Claire, you can't be doing that in front of me or whatever. She just went on with the program, and that's when I stopped respecting her totally. So Cleary had came on my house one day and he cut all the electronics cords off. He beat me up and scared the kids living to death. My son went to the boys' home. My daughter went to a girls' home, and me, Payne, and Duke went into a domestic violence shelter. So I had to leave Syracuse to be in a domestic violence shelter. I didn't go that far. I just, went out of Syracuse. I was in another city, and he kept calling my phone, apologizing, but at that time he was doing drugs. He had became from the dealer to the addict, and it was serious. He looked it bad. He just looked so bad. So I met him at a park over in the area where I was in a domestic violence shelter, and while I was in a domestic violence shelter, I had gave my mom permission to go in my house and get my stuff together and put it into a place where storage area, so that when me and my kids come back, we can get our stuff and move into another apartment. That included my car, all my kids' bikes, toys, electronics, clothes, bed, shoes, everything that I had to leave because I couldn't take that much. So my mom, my brother George, my brother Kenny, and my sister Eileen sold my car, stole my money and my pharmaceuticals, sold my kids' bikes, they beds, kept the money, and when we came out of the shelter, they didn't have nothing for us. So we came out the shelter with nothing. Me and my kids had to lay on the floor. They did bring me my clothes. I don't know why they say my clothes and not my kids' clothes, but they did bring me my clothes. Some of them, which I still got to this day, which I do not forgive them for doing that because they put me in a bind. I mean, I was down that time. I ain't had no place but to go up from there. I mean, the betrayal from your mother and your sister and your brother, that cut you kind of deep. So from that point on, I didn't trust nobody. I didn't trust my mom. I didn't trust my sister, no brother, nobody. I didn't trust Clary. I had nobody. I was all alone. And I came back to Syracuse and moved in an apartment on South Ave. Unbeknownst to me, it was right around the corner from Monica and Clary. And he would come over there, beat me up, and then go to Monica's house and have a good funky time. So I had to hustle. I went back to EOC. I started back school with medical billing coding class. And it was hard. And the director of EOC told me, you could do it, Nika. It's time for you to start living for you, and it's time for you to let go of all that you holding in. He said, I need for you to go to counseling. And I told him I would do it when it fit into my schedule because I was working and going to school, and I have 4 kids, and I was alone. And I had to get them on the bus. Just and all excuses. I could have fit it in if I wanted to. And so I went and I graduated from medical billing and coding. Now, I've graduated from EOC 3 times. And my dad never came to one of my graduations. My mother came to one. And I graduated on the 3rd time all by myself. Just my kids. And a dude, of course. And I'm not mentioning none of them dudes. They're not worth mentioning. Because, it was what it was. It ain't what it ain't. So, I went back to school and I graduated. And I moved out of that apartment because I done been in 99,000 apartments. And when I moved out of that apartment, some kind of way I got into some trouble and I didn't have a place to stay. So I had to move with my mom's on the west side. And Eileen lived downstairs and my mom lived upstairs. And I was working downtown at Blue Cross Blue Shield as a temp. And it was around Christmas time. So this is the reason why I went there, because I didn't want my kids to be in the shelter or anything like that during the holidays. And so I went over there and we was upstairs. My mother had a 2-bedroom apartment. Kenny was living with somebody else. Eileen was downstairs with a 4-bedroom. And she had put up the Christmas tree. And I was like, okay, Eileen, I got my kids' Christmas tree, my Christmas presents. Can I put them around your tree? She said, yeah, you can do it. She was living with Bobby. Now, Bobby is a good nigga. Don't ever get it twisted. Bobby was a good nigga. He did what he did. But a nigga always made sure she got her piece of the pie before he did what he did. So I always got respect for Bobby. And truthfully, that was the best man she ever had. She didn't shit it on him. But that's another story. So I took my stuff, wrapped up all my kids' gifts, took them downstairs while they was asleep, and put them under Eileen's tree. But Eileen was having a card game, and Monica and Clary and all the gang was coming over, and she told me, this is her exact words, you can't have you or them kids shit in my house because my friends are coming over to have a card game. I don't want you coming downstairs being around my friends. And I looked at her and I was like, seriously? You mean to tell me that because Monica and Clary coming over, my kids got to take Christmas upstairs in a one room? Because of that, you don't want us to celebrate Christmas with you? And she said, that's what the fuck I said. I took all my kids' gifts. When I took all my kids' gifts from up under the tree, that left her tree bare because she didn't have shit. She didn't have a motherfucking thing up under that motherfucking tree. Now, and I took all my kids' shit upstairs in my mom's house and I stayed up there. I didn't come down. I didn't come into her apartment none that night. And they had a good old fucking time. They cooked, you know how you do a car party, cook, drink, music, all that. I, myself, said right then and there, never again. Never a fucking again will I ever depend on anybody for anything. And I mean that. I didn't mean it because, again, I needed somebody, of course. But that taught me a lesson about friends, and she wasn't shit, was never going to be shit, and she didn't mean me or my kids no good because she used to call my kids dirty. And when I wanted a ride in her car, she told me I was too fat to get in her car. It was a Focus. I'll never forget that. And so it's just been situations after situations after situations with them. With them. Okay? So the next day after the party, and I'm coming down the stairs from my mom's house. Me and my mom was coming down because my mom always went down to Francis' house all day long. And she said to my mom, when you gonna kick Nika out? And my mom said, you worry about your apartment and I worry about mine. And she was like, well, it was an issue for my party that she was upstairs, so, you know, my party didn't last as long as it used to because everybody was uncomfortable. Bitch, how the fuck did they know I was upstairs? How the fuck did anybody know I was upstairs if you didn't fucking tell them? Okay? Bitch. But anywho, my mom never kicked me out. I moved out. And me and my kids, and Antoine couldn't come in, so he had to stay on the street. Nuna was in a girl's home. Still. Because she got on a stand and told these people some stuff. And they asked her if she wanted to go home with me. And she said no, she wanted to stay in the girl's home. So she had to stay in the girl's home. That was what she wanted. There's nothing I could have did about that. Because she was trusting them people. And she didn't trust her mother. which I gave her many reasons because I didn't leave Clary in time. I stayed and stayed in the drama with him. I gave her many reasons not to trust me, but that was the last time I had dealt with Clary and with my kids were affected. So, well, 55 minutes again. I'm going to cut this short at this point because this is the point where Roosevelt is dying. And I found out about it. So that's what we're going to pick up next. Roosevelt dying and what led up before he died. All the tricks and trades Roosevelt did. And if you learned anything from me on this one, sometimes family ain't shit. But don't grow a hardened heart. Don't feel for other people because they didn't treat you right or they didn't help you the way you wanted to be helped, the way you earned, you deserve to be helped. Don't get a hardened heart because of that. Stay being able to be loved and give love, because that's what happened to me. I got a hardened heart. I started doing crazy shit just and didn't give a fuck. I started sleeping with men and didn't give a fuck. Like, didn't care. Niggas, I didn't give a fuck about none of these niggas. None of these motherfuckers around me. I stopped. I secluded my damn self. And I met a lot of people that was nice and I met a lot of people that was wrong. But because I had been through so much, I could sit right here and watch a motherfucker be like, nope, yeah. No, I could pinpoint who the fuck it was before they even opened up their motherfucking mouth. I had got that good at looking at people and how they was walking, how they was talking, they mannerisms. I had picked up on all that shit because I had been through so much and I could recognize it. And also, by this time, I had read the books 48 Laws of Power, The Art of Seduction. I had read 1,000 books because I was in the house. And I would take my kids to the library. And my friends started being people that was doing things. And, not my friends that was hanging out, smoking reefer and drinking and partying and everything. My friends started being people who was doing things and they like positive. So I had read all these books, so now I got the skill, I got the game, I got it all, and I applied it, and I got better at life. But we'll get into that. We'll get all into that. So I'm gonna end it now with 58 minutes. Again, it's another hour. I'm gonna try to get it down to 30 minutes. I'm really trying to tell the story as fast as possible. I'm leaving out a whole bunch of stuff because it don't make no sense to tell all that. And some things I just can't tell. But I'm not through with Clary yet. Clary, we still got a lot of story about Clary. Clary, he was not a good husband. He was not a good father. He was not a good friend. He used me, he destroyed me, and he couldn't fix me. So the motherfucker that breaks you, they cannot fix you. And once you're broken, if you don't know you're broken, you can't be fixed. So that's another thing. That's a whole, it's so much, that so many lessons that I learned the hard fucking way. That I hope that somebody listening learns and don't make the same mistakes I made. I made every mistake possible. Some things I did on purpose. Some things I was too naive to even know. But I'll talk to you about it later. I'm going to close out on this one. And next chapter.